Oh, nice. All right. How's everybody? I'm going to make some predictions for the new year. First prediction. Single motherhood is going to decline. I'm talking about single motherhood here. The rate of single mothers, there will still be single mothers in the future. There are just going to be less of them. With Trump cutting off the welfare and all the Gibbs, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. So I predict a slow decline of single motherhood. I predict that there will be less single mothers in the future. They'll still be around. There's just not going to be as many of them. Another prediction. I think we're headed for hard economic times, sadly. Things aren't looking... Trump did his best, I will say, but the dollar is still declining. Nothing he can do, nothing anyone can do. It's going to fall. You know what I mean? So, with the hard times and basically the cutting off of welfare, you're going to see a lot less single mothers around, a lot less women having children out of wedlock. The women who have men... Thank you. Merry Christmas. But we're talking about New Year's. I'm making a New Year's prediction here. Now, Vlad, you're Russian. I guess the one thing you don't see in Russia is a lot of single mothers running around. Sadly, this is what happens in America. But, like I said, that's going to decline very, very soon. Yeah. And here's my prediction. My prediction is that single motherhood in America is going to decline. It's already declining. It was only rising in America, in particular, maybe the black community in America, was because of the welfare. Once you cut off the welfare, which Trump has done, you'll see a lot less of single motherhood in the future. It's already on the decline. It's just we haven't seen the downward slope. Just wait until the next generation of women come into the picture, and you'll see that they're not going to want to be single mothers in the future. I'm going to say, I don't want to do that. So that's a prediction. We're going to witness the decline of single motherhood. I think that's a good thing. Some people. Yeah, I know. Something similar happened in your country under Soviet Union, so not that much different. Exactly. I do predict some economic hard times in the near future, sadly. I don't think the dollar is going to be the dominant currency, and the U.S. dollar, is going to decline. It's already declining in value. That's the reason we got inflation, is because the U.S. dollar, the dollar dominance, is declining in value. The dollar is becoming less valuable. So those are my two predictions for the future. We're headed for rough times, rough waters, and with that rough waters, the hard times, we're going to see a decline of single motherhood. Also, I make another prediction: the girl boss era is coming to a close. Companies aren't hiring female CEOs anymore because they're losing money. Sadly, you might be right because you back your money with oil. We used to back our money by the gold standards. Ever since we left the gold standard, it's been terrible. But at least you back your currency with the oil standard, which is that's you know. So true. So true. Vlad. Well, if you just came in, give me a thumbs up. You got to survive the hard times ahead. Just stock your food and water if you live in America. And you might want to consider walking a little bit more and getting an e-bike because I can tell you this, it's not going to be good when gas goes up again. It's like, yeah. You bet your butt I'm prepared. How you doing, Nomad? Awesome, Wyatt. Awesome. I was making some predictions for, it's almost New Year's. So I'm making some predictions for 2026. And I guess I'll fill you in. I made a prediction. This is going to be my prediction for 2026. Because times are getting harder and Trump has cut off the welfare, you're going to see the decline in single motherhood in America. Single motherhood will decline. A lot of the baby mama culture, particularly in the Black community, is going to decline. It's unsustainable. Then and that can't afford to sustain itself. So yeah. I had a great Christmas, man. And of course, I will predict that a lot of women aren't going to leave their men during these times. They are going to stick with their men because the streets are going to be really cold if they, So if you have a man, ladies, you better stay with him because these streets are going to be real cold. Yeah. Had a great Christmas, Nomad. All right. Let's move on, shall we? That's a prediction. I'll make another prediction. You're going to see mass roundups and arrest of Antifa members in the near future, very nearly. A lot of Antifa members have already been arrested. You're going to see major arrest of Antifa members in the future. I hope so, but again. I'll tell you this: if she's working at a corporation, if she got a job because of DI she didn't earn, they might cut her. So yeah, maybe you should be worried a little bit. Amen, Putty Cat. Diversity, equity, inclusion bullshit. It just means discriminating against the straight white male. That's all it is. It's not a thing in Russia, but it's a thing here. It's kind of like the what I think it was how the Soviets discriminated against certain people, like the bourgeoisie or something, Maybe it is where you are. Here it's diversity, equity, inclusion, which is basically communist speak. Yeah, if they're right now, I've heard corporations are tightening their belts a little bit, so they're cutting like this stuff they don't need. That girl boss era, is coming to an end as well. Another prediction. It already is. Oh, that's well. I think it'll still be around in America, but it won't be as tolerated as much. We're starting to see the decline of the woke era. Well, we've already seen it. The woke is dead, pretty much. A lot of movies, commercials are getting away from the woke stuff. Uh, it just doesn't sell. I mean, you can't have a small minority like let's say the rainbow people trying to dictate. They want representation in the movies and the commercials. It doesn't work. They're a small minority. You're trying to dictate to the majority. It's going okay, Frozen. So true, Vlad. Like I said, in your country, Vlad, you don't tolerate that crap. You ban those parades. Neither do I, Sharp. Like I said, I make some predictions here. The woke era is over, and I do believe the baby mama era will be over very soon. The baby mama era, that's going to be over. I think in the future, people will look at how come all these women had children out of wedlock? Oh yeah, back then the government was, basically padding them a little bit with free money. Oh, that'd be nice, Putty Cat. Baltimore is a dead city. It is a city that has lost its population. Anyone who's still there just can't leave. No one wants to live in Baltimore. I've talked to people who came here from Baltimore just to get away from it. I talked to people who are running from Baltimore. I'm saying, that it's not going to be able to economically sustain itself. Yeah, you can have 5 kids, but you better have it with a man who can provide for those 5 kids. Because the government has cut off the provision. A lot of women who became single mothers, a lot of them chose to be single mothers. And I've talked to a few of them, quite a few. I'll put it this way. They chose because there was incentives, free money, child support. There was child support. There was WIC. There was food stamps. That's the only reason why they became single mothers in the first place, was the money. They didn't. A lot of them just, it wasn't, no. A lot of them, it's like, you didn't feel. A lot of them, like, the lie was, that guy just left that poor and defenseless girl. No, man. No, a lot of them chose to be that. Not anymore. Not anymore, Putty Cat. Trump has cut off the tap. The WIC, the food stamps, that's gone. Damn. He cut it off. Told him to get a job. That's why I predict. Amen, Putty Cat. Amen. The celebration of Jesus' birthday. You know, but like I said, it's a sad situation. You know, but it's both sad and it's both satisfying at the same time. It's sad for the children. You know, those children didn't choose to be born by a single mother. They didn't choose that. You know, at the same time, I think something, maybe some chicken or something. I don't know. Putty Cat. But they didn't choose to be that. You know, they didn't choose to be the child of a single mother. You know what I mean? But you know what that does? That puts them at a disadvantage. You know, it's very sad. Very sad. But at the same time, society can't keep paying for women's bad choices. You can't have another oops moment. Oops, I had another baby. There has to be some accountability here, you know? Oops, I couldn't keep my legs closed. A lot of time it wasn't precisely. Like I said, I'm not talking in. A lot of these women chose to be single mothers. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to bullshit you. I've talked to many of them. They chose to discard the man most of the time. If you really talk to them, you break it down with them. They chose to discard the men that they were with. You know, or they chose to basically have kids with irresponsible men. They didn't choose men that had the potential to be husbands. I can tell you that. These women, before they were single mothers, I can tell you, I met a few of them. They were spreading their legs for everybody. Well, at least everybody they found attractive. They were party girls. I've seen it. Exactly. So, very much so, precisely. Look, I don't really like to disrespect. You know, the thing is, I really don't like to get mad. I'm not mad about it at all because I can tell you this. You know, this is where it ends. You know, I'm just glad that there will be less single mothers around. You know, that's going to be very good. There'll still be some around, but there'll be less of them. And like I said, I don't pity single mothers anymore because I've talked to them. I've met a few. And when you really talk to them, you start to see through their lies. And you get to know over time that they chose that fate for themselves. They made that decision. They want to have fun. That's very true, Vlad. Very true. But like I said, it doesn't really matter because, well, nah, I'm not drinking anymore. My Christianity and everything, you know. No, I don't want that either. The point is here is it, and that's what I will see is the next generation of women will not choose to be single mothers, realizing there's no economic incentive for them to be single mothers. When there's no child support, there's no WIC, there's no government programs for them to help them if they have a baby out of wedlock, they won't do it. Bottom line. It's all about incentives. I mean, there was a major economic incentive for women to have children out of wedlock. Not anymore. Well, a single man can live by himself. He don't care. Well, I'll put it this way. Studies have shown that children who come from single fathers actually do better than children from single mothers. Why is that? And I'm living proof of this. My dad divorced mom and got full custody of us. You know what I mean? And I'm a Christian, hardworking. You know what I mean? Because a father's going to instill boundaries and good values. Women don't do that, you know. I'm hoping, Putty Cat. I'm going to try to put that together. We'll see if I can make it for the second, for the East Coast Slingshot Tournament 2026. But this time, anyway, I hope that explains everything. If you got any predictions, you tell them to me now. It will. It will, Vlad. Yeah, exactly, Putty Cat. I'm going to do that. The point is that I'm making predictions. I got it going on, prediction. Since Christmas is over, I'm going to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope that things go well for you in this new year. Now, I want to say I feel sorry for the single mothers. I'm not angry at them. They made their decision. That's okay. You know, we all make decisions. We make bad decisions in life. You know, I'm not going to hope so. All right. Well, let's see if my predictions come true. Well, that's not going to happen. Okay. No. We're not going to. Tyrone was an irresponsible man. But guess what? Shaniqua knew Tyrone was an irresponsible man. He wasn't husband material. But in the black community, they don't want a husband. A lot of times, I've seen interviews where I want to be a strong, independent woman. You know what I mean? Look where that got him. You know, they didn't want Darren. They wanted Tyrone. And this happens to the white community to a certain extent, just less high of a volume. You know what I mean? But it's more pronounced in the black community. So yeah. So responsibility. The one thing we don't do is put accountability on women in the society. Everybody is equally accountable under God. If you make bad decisions, it's on you. There's no one else to blame but yourself. Yeah. Amen, Putty Cat. Amen. All right. All righty, righty. Well, you know, this has been a great stream. I was able to make some predictions. Not there hasn't been any trolls on the stream. At this time of day, the trolls don't come out, which makes me think that the trolls are in school right now. That's the reason they don't come out during this time of day. That most of them are stupid kids. Oh man, WWE. Okay. I hate to break it to you, pro wrestling is dead. Okay. It is it's gone. You know? So true, lad. I support it too. Thank you, Stan. God bless you. Maybe I won't leave the stream now because Stan's here. But yeah, these are my predictions. Number one, single motherhood is going to decline in 2026. Number two, the economy, well, it's going to go downhill, because the dollar is going to lose less of its value. Two predictions. How you doing, Stan? All right, if you just came in, give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. I only got 2 likes, and come on now. You can smash that like button. Okay. Well, it's been an interesting day. Interesting time, isn't it? Good prediction. The price has been going up for silver and gold lately, a lot. So it's fetching a high price. I disagree. I disagree, Putty Cat, because the reason inflation is happening is because the dollar is losing its value as the world reserve currency. The dollar is losing its world reserve currency value. I think the dollar is declining, and with that, inflation is going to increase. The only thing that could save the dollar is going back on the gold standard. I doubt that's going to happen. Oh, yeah, I got some gifts. Lad. Nothing big, nothing huge. I was able to get some things. Let's see. Bear spray. Oh, give me a second. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, people. I know. Anyway, sorry I'm back. Yeah, I know. I'm about to get laundry done very soon, actually. Anyway, here's what I got. Something new, bear spray to the max. It's got a holster. Yep. Oh, there we go. No, it's more like it's Putty Cat. It's more like bear spray. It's bear spray, designed for self-defense. Thank you, Hammer and Nails. Now, if you just came in, give me some more likes. You know how it is. Thumbs up, people. Smash the like button. Nah. More like stuff you would spray into a bear's eyes. Thank you, Hammer and Nails. No, but it's also effective against human intruders. Putty Cat. Yeah. Yeah, well, no one. If you live in Maryland, you know we have a saying here in Maryland. If you're driving on the highway and you see the sign that says Baltimore, Baltimore ahead, you know what I mean? You stay on the highway until you see the sign that says you're now leaving Baltimore. To a certain extent, they both. Well, I'll put this in. No, one is not better per se. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. With pepper spray, you can basically you can basically spray everywhere, and it will still affect the attacker to a certain extent. With gel, you have to aim directly for the eyes. With the spray, if there's a strong wind, it might spray back in your face. You know what I mean? If you're using this outdoors. With the gel, it's more wind resistant. So there's trade-offs. You know. Very true. That's why I say to the good people out there, and I always said just leave the cities. This is why people, I say the safest places you can be is the countryside. If you're in America, of course. Stay out of the cities. Okay. All right. Well, I'm having some internal problems right now. God bless you. All glory goes to God, and have a happy new year.